When parents separate, a child's entire world can feel like it's just been shattered. So today, we're going to explore a powerful tool designed to build a new foundation of stability right on top of that broken ground. We'll be digging into the child access and custody guidelines from the High Court at Calcutta to really understand how we can move from constant conflict to real clarity, all for the sake of the kids.
You know, the source document does not pull any punches. It opens with this incredibly stark image. It frames the problem not just as a legal fight, but as an emotional chess game where children are literally used as pawns. This isn't about winning an argument. It's about the deep, lasting damage that this kind of behavior has on a child's life. So, what really happens when a child gets treated like a pawn in their parents' conflict? Well, the damage isn't just a temporary bruise. We're talking about lifelong scars that can shape their entire future. And here's the painful truth. Parents, well, they eventually move on. They rebuild their lives. But the child is often left carrying the full weight of that conflict. The trauma of being manipulated, of being torn in two directions, that doesn't just fade away. It can become a permanent part of who they are. And we're not just talking about sadness here. The source document lays out a pretty terrifying list of what can happen down the road. Everything from personality and conduct disorders to substance abuse and even criminal behavior and major depression. These are the devastating, real-world consequences of unresolved parental conflict. It's exactly why a solution is so desperately needed. So with stakes this high, how do we even begin to navigate this? What's the one principle that has to guide every single decision? Well, it all comes down to what the law calls the paramount consideration. Think of this as the North Star in every single custody dispute. It's a huge shift in focus. It's no longer about what the parents want or who's right or wrong. The only question that matters is this: what is best for the child? Everything else, all the anger, the hurt, the disagreements, has to take a back seat to that one priority. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of what best interest actually means. It's not just about food and a roof over their head. It's about protecting a child's right to have a loving, respectful relationship with both parents. The goal isn't to pick a winner. It's to make sure the child doesn't lose. And it's really important to know this isn't just some local court's idea. This principle, the child's welfare comes first, is backed by national policy in India and by international law, like the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's a fundamental human right for every kid, everywhere. Okay, so we have our guiding principle, but how do we turn that idea into an everyday reality? Well, the guidelines offer a very concrete solution designed to build that exact foundation of stability we've been talking about. This is the million-dollar question for any parent going through this. When your own world feels like it's completely falling apart, how on earth do you create a sense of safety and stability for your child? How do you build something solid on such broken ground? The answer the court gives is simple, but it's incredibly profound. It's not a suggestion. It's not a verbal agreement that can just be broken in a moment of anger. It's a mandatory, sworn document. The entire goal is to replace the chaos of constant conflict with the clarity of a written plan. And it's called the parenting plan, but really think of it as a blueprint for co-parenting. Its whole job is to get ahead of the arguments, to create a clear, predictable structure that a child can actually rely on, even when everything else feels totally uncertain. So how does a simple document become a roadmap for peace? What makes this plan so effective at cutting down the conflict and creating that stability for a child? For a child who's caught in the middle of a separation, predictability is everything. Just knowing the schedule, knowing when they'll see each parent, that transforms a terrifying, chaotic experience into something they can actually manage. This plan is designed to get rid of the unknown because the unknown is the #1 source of a child's anxiety. You can really see the journey here, right? It starts by ending the day-to-day conflict with a written plan that creates predictability, which in turn reduces a child's fear. And once that fear is gone, it opens up the space for what matters most, fostering a child's love and respect for both of their parents. It's a clear path from conflict to connection. So, we've established the foundation, a mandatory parenting plan to end the conflict. But what does that actually look like in practice? How do you schedule the holidays, the birthdays, the school nights? In our next explainer, we're going to dive right into the nuts and bolts of that blueprint, the one that builds a stable, predictable life for a child.